Welcome back to the Mark Dolan Show, and we are very news reactive, and that's why we're having an emergency interview, and it's very good news. To discuss some major royal news, I'm delighted to welcome the Queen of US showbiz, royal, and political reporting, Kinsey Schofield. Kinsey, welcome to the Mark Dolan Show.
Thank you. It's my favorite place to be. And I'm so excited that you and I get to talk about a topic that we absolutely love, the Princess of Wales.
Well, absolutely. So, look, here we are reunited on my show on YouTube, Substack, and podcasts. And we have got majorly positive news. Now, Princess Catherine was diagnosed with cancer last year. I don't think we know what kind of cancer it was, but there's been a major development. So, what do we know?
I mean, Mark, around this time last year, we were finding out about a serious abdominal surgery. And that led to the big "Where is Kate?" conspiracy theories online that really, unfortunately, I've always felt like we pushed her in a corner and made her have to be vulnerable and come out and say, I have cancer. I felt horrible at the time. Here we are a year after what we believe to be around the time she went in for her abdominal surgery. And the Princess of Wales is telling us that she is in remission. On Tuesday, Catherine visited the Royal Marsden Hospital. This is in West London. And she personally sat down and thanked staff for their care and the compassion that they gave her. She confirmed that that's actually where she went for her treatment. She spoke to several of the patients there. And it was really moving. I mean, to one person, she said, I'm sorry. I wish there was more that I could do to help. That was to one of the women that
Wow.
was getting treatment there. She's talked about wanting to come to show her support to some of the other patients that were currently getting treatment. She said to people like, are you okay? There's light at the end of this tunnel. She was so kind and the way that it truly felt like she was eager and excited to meet these people and told them, you're in the best hands. And that is a confidence booster when you're scared and you're seeing somebody that's in remission, telling you that things can be good and to keep your chin up.
Most definitely. And this finally ends the terrible, awful question mark that was hanging over her head about her health. I mean,
Mhm.
we had, didn't we, to contemplate the unimaginable, which is that this young woman with three beautiful children and a husband wasn't prevailing over this disease. We simply didn't know.
We simply didn't know, and I don't want people to be angry with us in discussing that. But the reality is, we grieved so much with Prince William when he was a teenage boy that I think a lot of us put ourselves in his shoes yet again in this
Yeah.
position and thought, our hearts were so heavy because concerned that we were concerned about his mental health. Where was he mentally, having experienced something so traumatic? Was he worried for his children? Yes, there's no way he wasn't worried for his children. But because we have that intimate relationship with Prince William and his history of losing Princess Diana at such a young age, obviously that's where our heads and our hearts are going to go. But she posted on Instagram, it's a relief now to be in remission and I remain focused on recovery. She said, as anyone who has experienced a cancer diagnosis will know, it takes time to adjust to a new normal. I'm wondering if that's her kind of preparing us for, perhaps not being out as much as we're used
Yeah.
to, seeing her face as often as we're used to. She said, I am, however, looking forward to a fulfilling year ahead. There is much to look forward to. Thank you to everyone for your continued support. C. I love that they sign their names, C or W, and it gives you the sense that they're really there behind the iPhone or whatever the post.
A quick interruption to thank you for coming over to YouTube to watch The Mark Dolan Show. But here's an opportunity to see all of my shows longer, unedited, with no ads, all for free at markdolan.com, along with lots of extra content, including bonus interviews and exclusive monologues, plus personal videos from me at home, live chats, and the chance for you to message me directly. Longer show, bonus videos, all ad-free. Just go to markdolan.com and I'll see you there. It is wonderful news. And you have always been very respectful in relation to this story. You never speculated about her health status, only reporting that she had cancer and was being treated for it. However, now that she's in remission, we can say that this was a serious brush with the disease, and she wasn't well for quite a long time.
It was, and I feel like, just thinking about the way that it all unfolded last year, I talked to Dickie Arbiter. He worked with not only Queen Elizabeth II, but with King Charles when he was Prince Charles and with Princess Diana.
Yeah.
And I asked, would you have done anything differently? Because they have never been in a position like this where at one point they were trying to hide two very serious illnesses from us. There were moments where they knew something we didn't, and there were strategies of how to deal with that. And I said to Dickie, would you have done anything differently? And he said, no, I think that they handled it. I think that they handled it appropriately, but I can't imagine the type of pressure that was on that team. When they were trying to determine how we go forward with this. We want to respect the privacy of King Charles and the Princess of Wales, Catherine. We owe it to everyone to be, to let them know something is going on. But how do we manage expectations? How do we manage reaction? How do we manage media reaction? It was a tightrope, and there were missteps. I was torn apart when I said I felt like the Mother's Day image was a fail. I don't necessarily think it was a fail on Catherine. I think she had the best intention. People hadn't seen her in a while. She wanted the cutest picture to go out, but she has people around her that should have known better when it came to that Mother's Day Photoshop incident. I was disappointed in the team around her that didn't catch those things that, like teenagers in Ohio caught. It's bizarre how quickly, regular sleuths caught on to some of the Photoshop errors that her team that are paid well, that have incredible positions, they didn't catch that. But otherwise, they had a very difficult job, and I did feel like they handled it well. But I was devastated watching the video of her sitting in Windsor, really kind of being so vulnerable and telling us something that once we knew, because I will tell you, I have friends there that were seeing Catherine pick up the children for school. And so
Really?
I think I might have hinted at that, like she's being seen around town. But I didn't want to give away too much because I didn't want to give up my sources. And so I knew that she was around, and I was also being told that when everyone knew the truth, they were going to feel guilty about the way that they'd treated her. And I made that statement too. I believe we're going to feel guilty once we have all the details. And seeing her sitting on that bench, the weight of the world. I just felt so horrible that I did feel like we put her in that position. And she even explained to us, I did this for my children. I wanted to give them time to process. It's unfair that we were pushing something for the world, not realizing that there was something so innocent and delicate going on behind the scenes. She wanted her babies to process some really difficult news.
Most definitely, of course, that video was hard to watch, the bench video out and about with greenery behind her, with pain and exhaustion etched into her face. She has looked better and happier since that video. At the turn of the year, we've had sort of church services and, of course, the carol service before Christmas. So the mood music has been more positive in recent weeks around Catherine, hasn't it?
It has. And, I thought she looked absolutely stellar at the Christmas Eve carol concert. And I do believe, just watching the few engagements we see her at, it's so sweet that she's always thrusting the attention on somebody else. She never makes it about her. Even at the Carol concert, watching some of the people that took the microphone, they were people that lost loved ones to cancer.
Yeah.
And she's thinking about them. She's shining a light on them. She didn't talk about herself at the hospital on Tuesday other than to say, I'm a walking example of what you could be tomorrow. And that was giving these individuals, independently, that was giving each of these people hope that they could be in remission soon. And that's what you need to hear when you're struggling and you're in a dark place and you're scared of what's going to happen tomorrow.
And this awful illness has created an unbreakable bond now, hasn't it, between Princess Catherine and the British public, and indeed perhaps arguably the world public.
I believe so, but I would also argue that she's always been our girl. You know, we have watched, I think we were more emotionally invested because we grew up with her. We saw her as a young girl on the slopes. Prince William, who was the, on the in America on the cover of teen magazines, you could open up next to NSYNC or Jonathan Taylor Thomas. I don't remember who was the hottie at the time, but
Justin
you
Timberlake.
Oh yeah, it was like Justin Timberlake and Prince William pictures, and you could have those hanging on your wall. And it was instantly. I was never envious of Catherine, or Kate Middleton, as we called her at the time. I thought she was the perfect fit. And we grew up with her, and we watched this evolution from the fun girl popping out of bars and pubs and stilettos and shiny outfits to the mother, and standing on the stoop at the hospital, introducing the world to her new babies, and then watching her early years projects, and just seeing how involved and invested she is in the development of children in their earlier years, knowing that she's had that experience, that's something she's passionate about. And then watching how she's handled really tough times. Mark, I know we're constantly talking about the drama and kind of the yuck of some of the scandal associated with the British royal family, but if you think about the last 4 years, there's been real heartache. The death of Prince Philip, that's devastating. The death of Queen Elizabeth, that hurts. That is, you're not just they lost a family member. So these two cancer diagnoses, these are individuals that have really seen heartache over the last 4 years. And to see the way the Princess of Wales has come out on the other side, and Prince William, their strength through it all, I think is really impressive, because I think sometimes we forget that these are humans, these are real people, and they didn't just lose these big, ambassadors, the way that I think of the royal family as these incredible ambassadors for your country. They didn't lose these public figures. They lost members of their family, and, they have faced some really tough times with their own illnesses.
Most definitely. Look, it's been quite a tumultuous year for William. He's had to do so many engagements on his own whilst dealing with the awful cancer diagnosis of his father, and of course with a continued foideur between himself and his brother over in California. Do you have any sense of what this illness, Catherine's illness, has had, what kind of effect it's had on their marriage? Has it brought them closer together, can we say?
Absolutely. I believe that it's brought them closer together. I don't know if you saw the sweet message that Prince William posted on her birthday recently, but it was
Yeah.
the kind of message that, kind of took your breath away. And it's not something we typically see from the British royal family. He was so loving and encouraging, talking about how proud he was, what a great mother she was. Uh, I love watching them. When they're on engagements together, they flirt. They will side eye each other when something's going on. She taps his butt. They have these little moments where you can tell that these two are sincerely in love with each other. When they started going back slowly after Catherine returned after trooping, you even see the way that when they're walking into rooms together, Prince William will lead her in, along her back. He's holding her lower back. And I think he's not only saying, I want you involved in this conversation, but it's almost like a protective, to me, it feels like a very protective gesture. So I think that they are incredibly close. I think he is proud of her and everything she's gone through. And just, to reference what we were talking about earlier, what a relief for him, having experienced what he's experienced. He must feel so much joy and relief knowing that his children are not going to have to suffer the way he did.
Well, indeed, and the awful, unimaginable thought that he loses his mother as a young teenager and might have lost his wife as a young man, and mercifully that hasn't happened. Before I let you go, Kinsey, King Charles still has the disease. Of course, we're praying that he's able to recover and get into remission as well. We know he's going to have a very busy 2025, notwithstanding. But that's also a situation where a relationship has changed. Catherine and Charles are very, very close now, aren't they? The disease has brought them together in a very unique way.
And he always wanted a daughter. In fact, when Prince Harry was born, he was disappointed that Prince Harry wasn't a girl. So Catherine is his girl. Catherine is his little girl. That's his daughter. We know that once they both found out about this disease, they started having private lunches together so that they could discuss their treatments, what they were going through, what they were feeling. King Charles is incredibly sensitive. He is an emotional person. And I mean that in a positive way. I know some people might think it's like him thrusting the pin around when the ink's not coming out, but I mean it in a positive way. He's empathetic, he's compassionate. And, Catherine, aside from Queen Camilla, who's been such a rock to him, gave him an ear. They were able to communicate about what they were going through, what their doctors were saying. How did it make sense to the other? Telling each other encouraging stories that they were hearing from their different friend groups. Oh, well, I know so-and-so did this and it was a success. I mean, they really have bonded over this, but I would stress that I always have felt like he loved Catherine and was always so proud that was the route Prince William chose to go, because she is a good girl, and she has done everything in her power to represent the monarchy and in a positive way. Her focus is on the future of the monarchy, and I think that he sees the Queen in that. He sees his mother in that, and he appreciates it.
What a thrill to be reunited on the national television and radio airwaves. Kinsey Schofield and Mark Dolan, the band, put back together. And on a very happy occasion, news, if you're just joining us, that Princess Catherine has revealed that she is now in remission in her battle against cancer. Long may that continue. Listen, if you want to find out more about what Kinsey does, head to her website, To Die For Daily, and listen to her excellent podcast of the same name. And Kinsey, we'll catch up soon.
Thank you.